Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and welcome back to our series going through the life of Elijah. If you would please open your Bibles to 1 Kings 18:16. We're going to be jumping into one of the most important part of Elijah's story. This is the story about Elijah that most everyone is familiar with, and I'm really excited to read this with you guys. But before we get started, I'm going to tell you guys a little something. In my time as a follower of Christ, I've met with a lot of hate and criticism for it. And I get atheists and agnostics asking me all the time very difficult questions and kind of wanting to punch holes in my faith. And it does get exhausting. Now, to be fair, there are some who genuinely have honest questions. They just want to know my opinion or outlook on certain things. But then you have others who don't actually want to learn. They just want to poke holes in it, right? Now, I try to convince people of the validity of God by answering their questions. And that can be difficult, especially when people don't want to change. Which is why I often am reminded of a great question that Christian apologist Frank Turek says to some of his atheist challengers. It's a great question, and it goes like this. If God was real, and Christianity was 100% true, and I could prove that right here, if I could prove to you that God was 100% real, would you follow God? And the responses people give to that question are always very telling. A lot begin to stumble over themselves and start to make excuses, or they won't make a direct response, but it's a very simple question. If God is real, if the Lord is God, will you follow him? You see, for a lot of atheists out there, it's not about whether or not God is real or not. It's not about the evidence. It's about desire. Do you actually want to follow God? If I could prove God was real, would you want to follow him? Or do you want to follow the idols of this world? And this isn't the first time that question has been asked. Frank isn't the first person to ask that question. In fact, the first person we know to ask that question was Elijah 3,000 years ago. We today live in a world of choices. But the one choice, the most important choice that matters for our eternal salvation is this one. Will you follow God or will you follow idols? Who will you follow as your God? If you've opened your Bibles to 1 Kings 18:16, we're continuing on our series, and I want you guys to understand this relationship with God. Today, I'm really excited for this. We're talking about the relationship between us and God, but the most fundamental aspect of having a relationship with God, the most important aspect of having a relationship with God, is starting with understanding, am I going to follow God or not? Now, I'm not going to stop reading to make points. I want to read this whole story to you. It's a lot. It's verses 16 through 40. So I ask you to follow along in your Bibles, please, because this is a lot. So let's read it right now. Ready? 16 through 40. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When he saw Elijah, he said to him, "Is that you, you troubler of Israel?" "I have not made trouble for Israel," Elijah replied, "but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table." So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Elijah went before the people and said, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." But the people said nothing. Then Elijah said to them, "I am the only one of the Lord's prophets left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves, and let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to that. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire is God." Then all the people said, "What you say is good." Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose one of the bulls and prepare it first, since there are so many of you. Call on the name of your God, but do not light the fire." So they took the bull given them and prepared it. Then they called on the name of Baal from morning till noon. "Baal, answer us," they shouted. But there was no response. No one answered, and they danced around the altar they had made. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. "Oh, shout louder," he said. "Surely he is God. Oh, perhaps he's in deep thought or busy, or he's traveling. Maybe he's sleeping and must be awakened." So they shouted louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears as it was their custom until their blood flowed. Midday passed and they continued their frantic prophesying until the time for the evening sacrifice. But there was no response. No one answered. No one paid attention. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come here to me." They came to him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down. Elijah took 12 stones for each of the tribes descended from Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, "Your name shall be Israel." With the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he dug a trench around it large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. He arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood. Then he said to them, "Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and on the wood." "Do it again," he said, and they do it again. "Do it a 3rd time," he ordered, and they did it a 3rd time. The water ran down around the altar and even filled the trench. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord our God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God, the Lord, he is God." Then Elijah commanded them, "Seize the prophets of Baal, don't let anyone get away." They seized them, and Elijah had them brought to the Kishon Valley and slaughtered there. Wow. Is that not powerful? Did y'all follow all that? Let's break down essentially what happened. So Elijah shows up to Ahab, the most evil king Israel's seen. And he says, "I'm tired of hiding. God has called me to talk to you. So here's what we're going to do. Meet me on Mount Carmel with all 450 prophets of Baal and all 400 prophets of Ashera. Let's get all 850 of these prophets out here." So they meet up at Mount Carmel, and Elijah says, "All right, people, question on the table. How long are you going to bounce between God and these gods? I mean, you're being real wishy-washy now. Sure, you claim to be people of Israel and you're all for God, but you're worshiping these idols and following these false prophets. So I ask you, if the Lord is God, will you follow him? If Baal is God, will you follow him?" And the people didn't say anything. They just stood there silent, like, "Duh." And he said, "All right, how about this? Let's set up 2 bulls for sacrifice. But we won't light the fire. We will not light a fire for the sacrifice. We'll let our gods light the fire themselves. Baal worshipers, you go first." And they spent from morning all the way till evening trying to light this fire. They sang songs, they danced, they cut each other, they slaughtered each other, they killed each other with swords and spears, begging their God to give them fire. Nothing happened. Literally, Elijah is doing a middle schooler's dream and taunting them while they do it, like, "Oh, do it louder, be a little louder, he may not hear you. I think he's asleep. Oh, you know what, he might be on the toilet, he might be relieving himself, man. Oh, you know, maybe he went on a trip, you know, maybe he's just gone off somewhere. But he's got to be God, right? He's got to answer you, right? Surely he's the real God and he's going to answer you, dude. Keep going, go louder." But after a whole day, nothing happened, so Elijah says, "All right, my turn." He sets up 12 stones around the altar and builds a moat around it, builds a little trench, and says, "All right, pour water over it." When they do, he goes, "Do it again." And he says, "Do it again." He does it 3 times, pours water over this altar. Now, some of you may not know this, but fire doesn't tend to light on wet wood. And he's dumped so much water on this altar, the moat he built around it is full up. There's no way this altar will light. But then he falls to his knees and says, "God, show yourself to us. Show these people that you are God and that I am your servant and I have done as you've asked. Reveal yourself to us." And the Lord not only burned up the offering, he burned up the wood, He burned up the stones and he burned the water. Elijah's making a point. You can give me all the disadvantages in the world. I'm the only prophet of the Lord. I'm dousing my offering in water, and God still answers me. There is so much we can take from this story, but the first thing I want to focus on is what Elijah says in verse 21. How long will you limp between gods and idols? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him. Now, some of you might think, Raven, I don't follow Baal. I don't pray to statues and poles and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe you haven't, but have you considered what these poles and gods represent? Asherah and Baal are gods of lust, of fertility, of war, of prosperity. You're right, guys, we don't worship poles and temples. We traded those for cell phones and laptops. John Calvin famously said, "The human heart is an idol factory." You see, whether you're a believer in God or not, you can probably relate to what I'm about to say to you. Do you have times where you feel inadequate? Do you feel like you need validation? Do you think that you need recognition or fulfillment? Do you think that you deserve to be validated at some points in your life? Guys, we have a hole in our hearts. We have a desire to fill this hole and feel that fulfillment. We want to feel validated. We want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel adequate. So when we find someone or something to fill that void and make us feel validated, we will worship it. We always run to that thing or even person who will help us feel fulfilled and validated, and that is what an idol is. An idol is something that we run to and worship to fulfill our need for God instead of God. And we live in a world, where we are making and finding many things to be our idols. My pastor put it like this: an idol is anything that we make the central focus of our lives. They're not always bad things, but in fact, good things that we've turned into God things. Sex, money, fame, games, work, even family. These are not necessarily bad things, but we turn them into God things. We worship them because they give us validation. We prefer them. I like to think that if Elijah was here right now, what he'd say to us if he could, I think he'd say something like this: if your God is money, go worship it. Go get it. Do whatever you have to do to get more of it. Cheat, steal, swindle, gamble to your heart's content until you feel it's enough. And if that's still not enough, get more. Make it so no one trusts you. No one likes you, but at least you have a full money bank. Do what you have to do to get money, because money is your God, and your God deserves nothing less than your absolute devotion. So throw away all moral scruples, get your damn money. If popularity is your God, if fame is your God, go get it. Lie about yourself on social media. Sacrifice your integrity, honesty, and virtues to gain those views and likes and clicks. Make a fool of yourself and ruin your reputation, because there's no such thing as bad publicity. As long as you're getting recognition, that's good, right? Because fame is your God. Publicity is your God. It shouldn't matter whether you're a hero or a devil, as long as people know your name. As long as your subscriber count is high. As long as you got that check marked by your name. If sex and pleasure is your God, go get it. Have sex with who you want, what you want, with as many as you want, as often as you want. Sacrifice your marriage, your relationships, and your family for one or more good sexual encounters. Spend every paycheck you get on a porn subscription. In fact, what does consent even matter if sex is your God? Just get it from people. Get it, because sex is your God. And if that is your God, Give it everything you've got. Throw away everything to get it. Because you can't do both, guys. You can't worship those idols and God. Worship implies you give your everything to this thing. And if God is God, then follow him. But if these idols are your God, why waste your time on the Lord? Follow these idols. Chase them. Sure, it may not end well for you. It may not go well. But they are your God. Oh, but Raven, that's ridiculous, I hear you say. Who would honestly go to those extremes? You're being way too hyperbolic right now. No one runs to those extremes realistically. I'm going to say 3 names. Ebenezer Scrooge, Johnny Somali, and Lily Phillips. Now, Scrooge is the definition of a man who made money his god, worshipped at the idol of money like no one else, separating himself from everyone else in his life and living a miserable, lonely existence. Now, sure, Scrooge is a fictional person. I don't deny this. But do we not use the name Scrooge to refer to people like him? Miserable people who live only for material gain and money? Johnny Somali is a man facing years of jail time in Korea because he traveled from country to country, making an absolute nuisance of himself for the sake of views, clicks, and streaming. His social media clout was so important to him, he disrespected 3 different countries, peoples, and their ways, all so he could get more attention thrown at him. The Internet Anarchist's whole channel is dedicated to exposing and documenting people like him who choose reputation and views over integrity. And then Lily Phillips, the infamous OnlyFans model who bragged about sleeping with over 100 men in one night. And as much as I'd like to think we'd all agree that's horrible, there are people who praise her for it, who think she's amazing for it. The porn industry has exploded in certain parts of the world, and so many young men and women are so obsessed with sexual pleasure and adventure that in today's day and age, it's no longer funny to be a 40-year-old virgin. It's bizarre if you're a 25-year-old virgin. How long until that number drops to 18? How long until women are encouraged to be sexually active at younger ages and men are encouraged to pursue any woman they want without reservation? Do you guys recognize how much society has given into these idols? The idols of lust, of money, and of fame? We haven't changed from 3,000 years ago. We just changed what it looks like. We don't call them Baal and Asherah poles anymore. We call them OnlyFans. We call them Pornhub. We call them money banks. We call it TikTok and Twitter and Twitch. We are a society that is obsessed with idols. And Elijah would tell you, if these things are your idols, if they are your gods, pursue them. But do it with your whole heart. Worship them. But if the Lord is God, worship him. It's time we stop being wishy-washy about it. Stop bouncing back and forth. We need to stop saying, look, I'll worship God Sunday morning. I'll worship porn Monday night. Maybe I'll do it Tuesday night too. No. Jesus said this in Revelation 3:15-16. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. Stop living on the fence. Are you for God? If he is Lord, follow him. If your idols are Lord, then follow them. When you try to take a little bit of everything, you walk away with nothing. When you try to say, yeah, I'll live for God a little bit, but I want to do this too. I want to live for my porn. I want to live for my sexual pleasure. I want to live for my money. I want to live for my fame and my clicks. I would go to church, but I got a live stream, God's tired of that. Are you for him or not? That's the first thing that I want to take away from this. Can y'all believe that? But there are 4 lessons I want you to take from today's reading. These are 4 very crucial lessons. Number 1, first one, write this down if you can. Our idols don't respond when we need them. Our idols do not respond when we need them. The Baal worshippers were desperate to get their God to answer them. This was the time too. In fact, did you know the ancient Phoenicians believed that Mount Carmel, where they were holding this competition, was Baal's sacred mountain? So they had home field advantage. And this was when they really needed their God to come through. But he didn't. In fact, Elijah smack-talked them because of it. Where is your God? Shout louder. He might be asleep. Maybe he's taking a piss. Maybe he's on vacation. Get loud, boys. When we need them, our idols will not respond to us. Here's how I know. If money is your idol, you'll never get enough of it. There will never be a moment where you're like, I'm satisfied. I have enough money. You'll get that one big win at the gambling house, but you still need more. You win that one big jackpot, but now that's not enough. You pick one guy's pocket and get away with it, now you've got more bills to pay. You'll never have enough. If sex is your idol, porn will only satisfy you for so long. By next week, you'll need something more. You'll need something new and more kinky. Women and men, they just look less and less appealing. They're not like the bombshells you're used to on TV or on your computer screen. You need more than one sexual encounter. Your wives and husbands don't satisfy you the way you want them to. Soon you're exhausting yourself just to get another good hit. If fame is your idol, there will always be someone more popular than you, and you will just feel jaded. I almost fell for this one myself, guys, believe it or not. As my channel has grown, I really wanted to keep growing, and it exhausted me trying to keep up with people like Havoc or Raptor Rex or Wexer or John DeLiner and others. I wanted to be just like them, to grow just like them, to be noticed by them. And when they did notice me after my video about them, it was euphoria. It was amazing until the excitement quieted down, until the fun stopped, until we all went back to our lives and there was a part of me that wanted that feeling again, to rub shoulders with the greats, to stand among the giants of this hobby, and I was being drawn to that idol of fame and popularity, and I didn't even realize it until I snapped out of it and realized, what am I doing? It won't be enough. I could get just as many subscribers as Havoc. I still wouldn't be satisfied. Because I'll notice, someone else has more subscribers than me. I'm still not the best. Because when we need our idols most, they don't give us the validation we ask them to give us. The second thing I want you to learn, the second lesson. Our idols will destroy us. Our idols will destroy us. Notice in verse 28, the Baal worshippers were cutting themselves up just to get Baal's attention. They were slashing each other with swords and dying just to get the attention of Baal and their idol. And guys, our idols are the same way. Inevitably, our idols will not just fail us, they will destroy us. Idols take and take and take, but leave us with nothing. I heard the testimony of one porn addict who put it like this: every time I watched a porno and pleasured myself to it, I felt a euphoria like I was on cloud 9, but the instant it was over, I felt so hollow and so ashamed. I couldn't even remember how good the euphoria was, and I had this urge to throw my phone across the room, but I didn't, because then how would I watch another one tomorrow night? It's a sickness. It's a disease that gradually is destroying you. Idols strip you of so much: your relationships, your money, your time, your energy, and your soul. What will you slash away to please your idol? What will you pay for that brief hit of euphoria? Will it be worth it as your blood drains from you and you lay on the ground in shame? You might say, look, having a lot of money isn't going to kill me. Having a porn addiction isn't going to kill me. No, maybe it won't physically kill you. But like I said in my, sort of Elijah, what would he say? Like he said, ruin your life to get these things. Throw it all away. And there's going to come a moment where you look back on your life and you say, where did it all go wrong? Well, at least I have you, money. You will find your life destroyed because of it. The third lesson. God has power over idols, therefore he is worthy of our total worship. God has power over idols, therefore he is worthy of our total worship. Remember what Elijah said in his opening to the people. If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him. That's a fair argument. If one of them is God, they are deserving of your worship. And he didn't even exclude Baal. Hey, guys, if Baal is Lord, if Baal is God, worship him. If we can prove right now that Baal is God and that he's superior, you have every right to follow him. And the people said, this is good. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Let's have a competition. And in the competition, who won? Who answered the call of their people? See, that's the thing. I said earlier that we have a hole in our heart. A hole in our heart that begs for validation and fulfillment. And we run to the things of this world to get it. But God has power over the world. God has power over these things. He can fulfill us in ways that these idols just can't. Therefore, if he can fulfill us better than these idols, if he has power above these idols, then why aren't we worshiping him instead? People ask all the time, why should I worship God? What can he do for me? Have you tried? When you compare what God can do for you versus what an idol can do for you. An idol, the benefit of an idol is it can give you a temporary bit of satisfaction. It can give you a temporary release. God will fulfill you for eternity. And therefore, he is worthy of worship. The fourth and final lesson I want you to take from today, God has freed us from idols through the work of Christ. God has freed us from idols through the work of Christ. I want you to notice something kind of interesting about the way the Baal worshipers worshiped. They were cutting themselves, slashing themselves open until blood flowed on the mountain. And there were 450 prophets of Baal. That's a lot of blood. And yet their blood could not light that altar. Their blood could not give them what they needed. Elijah didn't cut himself. He didn't slash himself. He didn't dance around doing a silly song. He didn't do any crazy hymns. He didn't bounce up and down screaming. He looked to the heavens and said to God, God, do your will. Show these people who you are. And he did. You know what that's similar to? What Jesus did. I was on Twitter the other day. Frank Turek has a Twitter account. It's really cool. He made a post that said, what makes Christianity different from every other religion? And I answered. I said, in every other religion, we must work our way to God. We have to earn our God's favor. We have to earn their love. But for Christianity, for us, God loved us so much, he came to us. He built the bridge to reach us because God knew we couldn't reach him on our own work. We couldn't reach him on our own capabilities. So God came to us instead. The Baal worshipers were cutting themselves open and dying to try to win the approval of Baal. And when it comes to our idols, we will destroy ourselves in order to get the validation of these idols. But Jesus doesn't require us to work for him. He doesn't require us to cut ourselves open. He shed his blood for us. He died on a cross for us. He made the sacrifice for us. He freed us from idols through his work, not ours. There's nothing we can do to make God love us more because he already loves us so much. He loves us so much. He made that sacrifice on the cross, shedding his blood so that the sacrifice could be made and our sins could be forgiven. We don't need to cut ourselves open. We don't need to throw ourselves around. We don't need to wallow in our own shame and sin and piss any longer. We don't need to shed our blood and watch it spill out and beg God to notice it. Jesus paid that price. Elijah proves this by just saying, Lord, show yourself to us. And he did. If God were like these idols, that wouldn't have been sufficient. Elijah would have had to prove it. Elijah would have had to said, okay, God, let's do a few Hail Marys. Let's start bouncing up and down. Let's cut ourselves open and start singing a special little hymnal, and maybe you'll listen to me. God was always listening. In fact, God was the one who led Elijah there. He was waiting, just saying, do your thing, Elijah. I'm ready to bless you. I want to bless you. This story from Elijah, a lot of people today would say is just this old Bible story that you teach in Sunday school, but there is so much to learn from this. Elijah is teaching us. God is teaching us through this story. My challenge for you today as we wrap up is to ask yourself the question that Elijah asked 3,000 years ago. How long will you limp between two gods? If the Lord is God, follow him. If the idols are God, if the Baal is God, follow him. Choose one. But if you're going to choose one, follow it with your whole heart. Raven, that's hard to do. It can be, yeah. It can be. But the rewards are great. Raven, does this mean I can't make money anymore? Didn't say that. Raven, does this mean I have to give up my YouTube channel or my Twitter account? I didn't say that. Like I said, idols are often good things that we turn into God things. And when we make them God things, they become bad. There's only one God, and you need to decide who it is you're going to worship, the Lord or those idols. I hope you guys understand why we're so excited to do this one. This is a powerful message. And I spent the last few weeks bracing myself for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Guys, you know, it's not easy being a follower. It can be very difficult. But I thank you all for taking the time to watch this. If you are a believer and this enriched you or blessed you in some way, I am so thankful. If you're not a believer and you have more questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, respectfully, of course. If you actually watch this long into it and you're not a believer, maybe God is talking to you today, and I hope that he is. But thank you guys so much for following and for listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys.